There are natural wonders on Earth so breathtaking that they seem almost unreal. From majestic mountains and colorful lakes to mysterious caves glowing like a starry sky, our planet is filled with incredible landscapes. Some beaches shine with magical blue light at night, while strange blue flames rise from volcanic regions, creating scenes that look like another world. In many places, the sky, mountains, water, and earth seem to merge into one spectacular picture. Join us as we explore some of the most extraordinary places on Earth. Welcome to Socotra, Yemen, one of the most extraordinary islands on Earth. Located in the Arabian Sea, Socotra is famous for its strange and otherworldly landscapes. The island is so unique that sometimes it feels as if you have been transported to a distant planet. One of the most iconic sights here is the dragon blood tree, a remarkable species with a broad, umbrella-shaped canopy. Its unusual appearance makes the landscape instantly recognizable. Scattered across rocky mountains and dry plains, these trees create a scene completely different from anything we normally see. But Socotra is not only famous for its incredible trees, the island is also home to majestic mountains, deep valleys, white sand dunes, rocky plateaus, and crystal-clear waters. Some areas are covered with unusual plants that have evolved in isolation for thousands of years. This isolation has created an extraordinary ecosystem with species that cannot be found anywhere else on Earth. As the camera turns toward the coastline, the scenery changes completely. Rugged mountains give way to stunning beaches with pristine white sand and turquoise waters. In some places, enormous sand dunes rise right beside the sea, creating a spectacular contrast between the desert and the ocean. Life on Socotra is also closely connected to nature. Small communities are scattered across the island, where traditional ways of life remain an important part of daily life. The people have adapted to the dry climate and isolated environment, living in a land where the landscape has remained largely unchanged. Socotra, Yemen, is more than just a beautiful island. It is a living, natural wonder, home to unusual plants, majestic mountains, untouched beaches, and landscapes so incredible that they seem almost unreal. If you're looking for a place that truly feels like another world, Socotra is certainly one of the most fascinating destinations on our planet. Get ready to discover one of the strangest landscapes in the United States, Fly Geyser, Nevada. Hidden in the vast black rock desert, Fly Geyser looks like something from another planet. Rising dramatically from the dry desert floor, this colorful formation is covered in shades of red, orange, yellow, green, and white. The story behind Fly Geyser is just as fascinating as its appearance. The formation began after drilling activity created a pathway for hot underground water to reach the surface. Over many years, minerals from the hot water accumulated around the opening, gradually creating the unusual formations we see today. As the water continues to flow, it forms small pools and terraces around the geyser. Mineral deposits build up layer after layer, constantly changing the appearance of the landscape. The result is a spectacular natural sculpture that looks completely different from the surrounding desert. From above, the contrast is incredible. The black rock desert stretches across the landscape in shades of brown and gold, while Fly Geyser suddenly rises from the middle like a brightly colored mountain. The combination of dry desert and flowing hot water creates a scene that seems almost impossible. The pools around the geyser reflect the surrounding colors, while steam rising from the hot water adds another layer of mystery. When sunlight hits the mineral-covered formations, the colors become even more dramatic. The area around Fly Geyser is extremely remote, with enormous open spaces stretching toward the horizon. There are no skyscrapers or crowded streets here, only desert, mountains, sky, and this remarkable geothermal formation. At sunrise and sunset, Fly Geyser becomes even more beautiful. Warm golden light illuminates the mineral terraces, while the desert behind them slowly changes color. Fly Geyser, Nevada, USA, is a perfect example of how natural forces and human activity can combine to create something completely unexpected. In the middle of one of America's driest landscapes, hot water has created a colorful world that looks like an alien planet, and that is exactly what makes Fly Geyser so unforgettable. Now let's travel to one of France's most magical landmarks, Mont Saint-Michel. Rising dramatically from the coast of Normandy, this magnificent island commune looks like a medieval castle floating above the sea. At first glance, the view is breathtaking. A towering medieval abbey rises above a cluster of stone buildings, narrow streets, and ancient walls. During high tide, water can surround the island, making Mont Saint-Michel appear almost completely isolated from the mainland. As we move closer, the architecture becomes even more impressive. Narrow stone streets wind upward through the village, lined with historic houses, small shops, and restaurants. Every corner seems to reveal another medieval detail. At the top stands the magnificent Mont Saint-Michel Abbey, the architectural heart of the island. Its stone towers, arches, stairways, and vaulted interiors reveal centuries of history. Inside, visitors can explore impressive rooms, chapels, cloisters, and grand halls built on different levels of the rocky island. One of the most beautiful areas is the cloister, where elegant columns frame views of the surrounding landscape. From higher points of the abbey, visitors can look across the bay and watch the enormous tidal landscape stretching toward the horizon. And then, there is the sea itself. The tides around Mont Saint-Michel are famous for changing the appearance of the landscape dramatically. At one moment, the island seems surrounded by water. Later, vast areas of sand and mud appear around it. When the sun begins to set, the medieval walls glow with warm golden light. The towers rise against the sky while the surrounding bay reflects the changing colors. Mont Saint-Michel, France, is not simply a beautiful building. It is an extraordinary combination of medieval architecture, history, coastline, and dramatic tides. Standing before this incredible island, it is easy to understand why Mont Saint-Michel has captured the imagination of visitors for centuries.
Welcome to Whitehaven Beach, Australia, a breathtaking tropical paradise where brilliant white sand meets crystal clear turquoise water. Located on Whitsunday Island in Queensland, Whitehaven Beach is famous for its incredibly bright silica sand and stunning coastal scenery. From above, the beach looks almost unreal. Long curves of white sand stretch between deep blue and turquoise water, creating a spectacular natural pattern. One of the most famous viewpoints is Hill Inlet, where tides move through the shallow water and continuously reshape the sand. As the water flows back and forth, it creates beautiful swirling patterns of white and turquoise. No two moments look exactly the same. The beach itself is equally impressive. The sand is extremely fine and bright, while the water is so clear that you can see different shades of blue spreading away from the shoreline. Around the beach, green hills and tropical vegetation create a beautiful contrast with the white sand. From the highest viewpoints, the entire coastline opens up like a giant natural painting. Small boats moving across the water add another sense of scale to the landscape. Compared with the enormous coastline, they look tiny, emphasizing just how vast and peaceful this environment is. Whitehaven Beach also offers a completely different atmosphere at sunset. As the sun drops toward the horizon, the white sand begins to glow golden, while the turquoise water slowly turns deeper blue. There are no giant skyscrapers dominating the coastline and no crowded urban streets. Instead, the landscape is shaped mainly by sand, water, forest, sunlight, and tides. Whitehaven Beach, Australia proves that nature does not need complicated architecture to create something extraordinary. A beautiful beach, clear tropical water, green hills, and changing tides are enough to produce a landscape that looks almost too perfect to be real. And when you see those incredible white sands meeting the turquoise sea, you will understand why Whitehaven Beach is considered one of Australia's most spectacular coastal destinations.
Prepare to enter a landscape that looks like it belongs on another planet, Dalal, Ethiopia. Located in the Danakil Depression, Dalal is famous for its extreme environment and extraordinary colors. Across the barren landscape, bright shades of yellow, orange, red, white, and green appear across the ground. But these colors are not artificial. They are created by geological and geothermal processes beneath the surface. Hot water and mineral-rich fluids rise from underground,
you might think you're
leaving
looking
behind
at a
salt
digitally
and mineral
created
deposits as the water evaporates. The result is an incredible natural landscape filled with colorful pools, salt formations, mineral terraces, and strange geological structures. From above, Dalal looks almost like a giant abstract painting. Bright yellow and orange areas contrast dramatically with the surrounding brown desert. Some pools appear green or blue, while large areas are covered with white salt crystal. But behind this, beauty lies an extremely harsh environment. The Danakil Depression is one of the hottest and driest places on Earth. Temperatures can become incredibly high, and water is scarce. There are no lush forests or large cities here. Instead, the horizon is dominated by desert, rocks, salt, and mountains. The harsh environment is exactly what makes Dalal so fascinating. Deep underground, geological activity continues to shape the surface, creating new mineral formations and changing the landscape over time. When sunlight reaches the colorful pools, the entire area becomes even more spectacular. Golden light highlights the mineral formations while the surrounding desert remains almost completely barren. At sunset, Dalal takes on a completely different appearance. The warm light intensifies the oranges and reds, while the white salt formations create striking contrasts. Dalal, Ethiopia is a powerful reminder that beauty can exist even in the harshest environments. It may look like an alien world, but every strange color and unusual formation is part of the incredible geological story of our own planet.
Existed in the ancient evaporated lakes of the Red Planet, Dallo serves as our baseline test, because think about it, if life absolutely cannot exist in this chemical nightmare right here on a life-abundant Earth, finding it in the incredibly right here on a life-abundant Earth, finding it in the incredibly
Far away in the South Atlantic Ocean lies one of the most isolated places on Earth, Bouvet Island, Norway. This remote volcanic island is almost completely covered by ice and snow. From a distance, it appears like a giant frozen fortress rising from the middle of the ocean. Massive cliffs drop dramatically toward the sea, while snow and ice cover much of the island's mountainous surface. The contrast between dark volcanic rock, bright white ice, and deep blue ocean creates an extraordinary landscape. Bouvet Island is extremely isolated. There are no large cities, busy roads, or tourist resorts. Instead, the island remains largely untouched, surrounded by enormous stretches of ocean. Looking from above, the island appears almost unreal. A small piece of land sits in the middle of an endless blue ocean, with mountains and glaciers dominating its surface. The coastline is equally dramatic. Powerful waves crash against steep cliffs, while seabirds gather along rocky areas. These birds are among the few visible signs of life in such a harsh environment. Weather conditions can be extremely challenging, with strong winds, low temperatures, and rough seas. Because of this isolation and difficult climate, permanent human settlement is not practical. But that same isolation gives Bouvet Island its extraordinary beauty. When sunlight hits the snow-covered mountains, the ice can shine brilliantly against the dark ocean. At sunset, the white landscape may turn golden, orange, and pink, creating a spectacular contrast with the surrounding sea. Bouvet Island, Norway, is not a destination defined by luxury or crowded attractions. Its beauty comes from its loneliness and wilderness. It is a place where ice, mountains, ocean, and wildlife dominate the landscape. Standing in front of Bouvet Island, you can truly appreciate how enormous and powerful nature can be, and how many mysterious corners of our planet still remain far beyond the reach of ordinary travelers. Get ready to discover Mount Roraima, Venezuela, a gigantic natural fortress rising above the rainforest. Unlike ordinary mountains with sharp peaks, Roraima has a huge flat summit surrounded by enormous vertical cliffs. From a distance, it looks like a giant stone table floating above the green forest. The walls of the mountain rise dramatically from the surrounding landscape, creating an almost impossible-looking scene. Clouds frequently gather around the summit, sometimes hiding the top completely and making the mountain appear mysterious and unreachable. As we move higher, the scenery changes. Massive rock formations dominate the landscape, while streams and waterfalls flow through cracks and channels in the ancient stone. The summit is like another world, Large rocks are scattered across the surface, while small pools, streams, and unique plants create a landscape very different from the rainforest below. When mist moves across the summit, the atmosphere becomes even more dramatic. Huge rocks appear and disappear through the fog, while waterfalls seem to emerge from the clouds, but perhaps the most spectacular view comes from below. Imagine standing in a vast rainforest and looking up at an enormous stone plateau rising above the trees. The green forest stretches toward the horizon, while Roraima stands above it all like a giant natural fortress. At sunset, the cliffs become golden and orange before slowly turning into dark silhouettes against the sky. Mount Roraima, Venezuela, is more than a mountain. It is a world of ancient rock, rainforest, clouds, waterfalls, and mysterious landscapes. Its unusual shape makes it one of the most recognizable mountains in South America, while its isolated environment gives it an almost magical atmosphere. And when clouds surround the summit, Roraima truly looks like a place from another world.